Okay, page 152, a notice of a meeting. The format can be formal or informal. Just mark that there on page 152. It will be good information for you to refer to if they ask you. Write the notice of a meeting and write it in a formal format. Now then you will know. It says there, formal means presented as a letter. A circular letter means you write one letter and you will send it to a few people. So you will start with, dear members, and you send it to all the members. You can't write a specific name there. So the formal one will look like a letter, the informal one will look like a memorandum. So always remember that, so mark it there. On page 156, you see a notice of a monthly meeting. Why is she lying down like that? Sit up and leave your phone. Put away your phone. Okay, let's look at the differences between a formal letter and this notice of a meeting. Formal notice of a meeting that looks like a letter. There is a little difference in it, and that is, first it's the same. You have the name of the business at the top. You have your address. You have on the right hand side, your address. On the left hand side, you have your telephone number, fax, email. Then there is the date. Okay, they put it on the left hand side. Wherever you put the date, left or right, will be okay for you. Because the book has it both ways. Then you write, dear member, because you can't put one person's name, you will have a few people to send it to. Remember, you have this committee of it consists of that is the chairman, the secretary, the treasurer, and the 4 additional members. The 4. So these 7 people, they are your members, and you are now inviting them to the meeting. So, dear member, and then you write notice of depending on what type of meeting it will be. Annual general meeting, once a year. The frequent meeting, every month. Or a special meeting when something happens. There's a crisis, you need to sort it out, so you have a special meeting. That one, Lungamanisi was inviting the people to, in the task, was a special meeting. Okay, an announcement. Again. So it can be one of 3 types of meetings, and you must say what type of a meeting it is that you are inviting the people to. Lungamanisi had a special meeting because it was suddenly something that came up and we must sort it out now. So many people called them and they were too busy and they didn't know how to handle it. So he had this special meeting for brainstorming to find a solution. That was what they did. Something else can happen. The clubhouse roof can blow off or a part of the roof. Then you must have a special meeting and you will in that meeting you will decide how you will handle it now, who will fix it. So maybe you start a committee just for that. Say, you guys, you get the work to fix it. This person is good with doing the insurance claim, so we co-opt her. You know, we said it is an ad hoc committee, and some people are co-opted because we need her, because she's good with that, we put her on that committee. But until they fix the roof, it's done. If all their work is done, they dissolve. So they are temporary. We might have that's what happens in a special meeting. I think I said it already last week. Okay, so now you say, you say I want to invite you to, is it an annual general meeting, monthly meeting, or a special meeting? And then, very short, it's only like 3 lines. You don't need to write a lot of things. You say, please note that there will be a special meeting to talk about the problems with the roof. You give the date, the time, the place. That's done. That's all that you need to write. A notice of a meeting is very short. And then you say yours faithfully. And you sign your name, and you write your name, and you write secretary. Again in capital letters, the name and the secretary, and this subject in capital letters, and the name of the city that you are in, capital letters. Don't lose marks for those nonsense. And many of you have lost marks for that. Okay, this is the formal one when it looks like a letter. Only one thing doesn't look like a normal formal letter, and that is you don't have an address this side. Because you are sending it to 7 people, you are not going to put their addresses there. The informal one looks like a memo. So that's the one you've already written for Lungamnisi. It must look like the memo. Page 158, Umtata General Dealers, there is one that looks like it. So you can use that if they say write it in an informal way, or maybe they will say write it in a memo format. Then you use that one. Okay. Let's go back to Langa Soccer Club, because they have the minutes as well, so it's easy to use both of them, and you can see how the agenda looks and how the minutes look that goes with the same agenda. So you will now look at page 156 and page 165. The numbers are just swapped. There you will find on 156 notice of a monthly meeting of Langa Soccer Club. Waar komt dit? Oh. So after this short little letter of yours, you will put the agenda. And the agenda is now written exactly how the meeting will be done. Meeting, when you walk into a meeting, the first thing when you sit down, they will give you a paper to write your name on for the attendance register. And so that is what they first will do, and they will say, okay, we got apologies from this one. We'll write down, the secretary starts to write down the minutes there. So that will be that. Then, opening and welcoming. That is where the chairman says, good evening to everyone. We are glad you can be here and very welcome to the meeting, and that's done. And then he goes through this agenda. You will read through the agenda. You will say, okay, the first thing we will do is the minutes of the previous meeting, then we'll do matters arising. It doesn't give time for people to speak now. You just say, we are going to do, our new business is this and this. Then he goes to general and he says, under general he says, is there anything someone wants to add to, so that we can talk about it tonight? And they will give their things, and I write it, the chairman writes it down there under the point general, and now he says and then we are going to do the date of the next meeting, and then he says this agenda is now fixed. It is now final. You cannot just add anything. Now this is what we will talk about. And then he starts from the beginning again. He says, right, what is the first thing on our agenda that we will do is to read the minutes of the previous meeting. And normally you did receive it, you have received it before the meeting, so there's no need to spend time during this next meeting to read it. We'd rather say, usually we'll say, have you read it at home? Was there anything you wanted to change? And if you don't find any mistakes, or there were no mistakes, we can accept it like that. If there were mistakes, you will tell us now, and we can decide if we want to change it. I think while we are doing this agenda, how we are, as if we are in the meeting, we must open the other one as well, page 165, and look at them both together. The numbers will be the same. If the secretary is clever, and normally now they do it like this. She brings her laptop to the meeting. She takes that agenda as it was sent out. She copies it. She pasted it in a new file, or you write it in a new page, or what. And at the top, she doesn't put agenda. So now she puts minutes. So she has half of it already now, because she has the headings with the numbers. It can't change. It may not change. So when you start the meeting, she's going to type in between every line. She's going to make a new line and just type in there what happened. So when we go in and we say, they give us the attendance register, she types, the chairman circulates the attendance register. Well, done. Then apologies. When there are apologies, she writes down below the next heading. She goes with her to a computer and she writes, apologies were received from this person, all these people. And she writes it in. So by the time the meeting is done, her minutes will also be done. Of course, she does it right there. Number 3, opening and welcoming. She writes, the chairperson, Mr. T. Barnes, opened the meeting and welcomed all members present. Done. 4, minutes of previous meeting. Now she says, there was one error and it was corrected. Someone said something was written down wrongly in the previous set of minutes, so it was corrected. And then we must say, will we accept these minutes as a true version of the previous meeting? And we must ask someone to propose it. If we want to accept some new idea in a meeting, it must be proposed formally by someone. So can we get a proposer? Yes, he proposes, we can accept the minutes. So she writes down, the proposer was S. Raja. And then, can we get a seconder? Someone who feels like that. Someone else puts up a hand, I second that. And she writes it down. So from all those formal decisions, we must have someone who proposes it and someone who is with her, the seconder. Okay, then 5, matters arising. As we've been looking at the minutes now, is there anything more about the minutes that you want just to talk about again now? Matters arising. And here we had Coca-Cola tournament. It's just that in the minutes they said that the team were going to they were going to play at this tournament, and now the tournament is done. It went well, etc. So what they will say now is, thank you for everyone who came. We just want to say thank you for everyone who went, and it went well. We won something, and congratulations. That was a matters arising. But maybe there's something that's unfinished. There can be something else as well. But this was just congratulations. Right, 6, new business. New business is the reason we are meeting for. All these things up to now were formalities. And it's important, we need to do it, but we can't meet just for that. New business is the reason why it's now the new things that we are going to meet about. First one, FIFA affiliation, P. Witbooi. So he knew beforehand he had to come and talk to us about how our new FIFA affiliation things will work. So he must talk about it now, and then after we talked, she writes down. Mr. Witbooi reminded the members that the club had officially been affiliated to FIFA since the 1st of June. From now on, only the FIFA rules and regulations would apply during practices and matches. He handed every member a rule book. So, that's now done. Go on to the next point. 6.2 league matches. B. Khan was prepared to come and talk about that. And she informed the members things, and there she wrote it down. 6.3 extension of practice hours. S. Banta. We spoke about it, and she wrote down the details. Now we come to a motion. That is a more another formal thing that happens is if there is something that people want they want the club to decide on a new thing. He comes and he brings his new proposal, and in the meeting terminology it says he proposes a motion. So that is, they want to be grand, you must know that word. The motion is, then you write it down verbatim, every word, how the motion will be worded. The wording will be that training for junior players be introduced on Saturday mornings as from the 1st of August 2024. Who is proposing it? So the name of the person there, Mr. Chabalala. Seconder, Mr. Musa. Now, go to page 161. At the bottom, it's now in the middle between these pages, where it says there under new business. Follow these 7 steps. It is when a motion is proposed and how we will handle the motion. So it's a formal proposal that that training for junior players be introduced on Saturday mornings from the 1st of August. So you give the 7 steps. While she is writing down the minutes, she must write down, give the name of the proposer and the seconder, say what was proposed, give the reason for the proposal, mention that the proposal was discussed. So she writes, it's proposed by this person, everything, and then she writes, the members discussed it. She must say that it was discussed. Say whether it was accepted or rejected. If accepted, say who will implement it, who will do the work, and when. If it's rejected, say why, give the reason. So those 7 things for handling motions in a meeting. Okay. Then it was discussed, and they remember what the chairman must do after he gave some time for discussion. He says, okay guys, I can see that there are 2 sides here. Some people who are for it says this, this and this. People who are against it says this, this and this. So he is objective. He doesn't say what he is. He doesn't let them know what his heart is, how he wants it. He must give everyone there a fair chance to speak their mind and to decide what they want to decide. And after he made this little summary for both sides, he says, now can we bring it to the vote? Can we vote about this? Who says yes, they vote. Who says no, they vote. You get the result and you say, thank you, it was now decided that. So the motion goes through. 4 votes for and 2 votes against it or something. And he says the motion was discussed and accepted. Players interested in helping with the coaching were to give their names to Mr. Chabalala after the meeting. So who's going to do it? Mr. Chabalala. He will get the names. He would inform the juniors about the first session on 1st of August. So that is how the things will be done. Right. 7, general. If they put some extra things in there, in the beginning of the meeting, you can discuss it now. And so let's turn the page. On the next page, it says general, nothing was discussed. So maybe in this case, there was nothing. But you always have that point, general, on the agenda for if there is something. And then we decide on the date of the next meeting. The next meeting was set for the 18th of August 2024 at 18:30. Closure, the meeting closed at 8 o'clock. Meeting was on time, done, finished. And then there are a few lines for the people to sign it. So after the next meeting, when this one was accepted again, it can be signed. In the next meeting, they will most now look up at this one. And after they accept it, it is signed and filed, and there it's done. Right. Special meeting, annual general meeting. These they tell us how all the different meetings are. I think I'd like to go on with the next module. So just to conclude this, page 170 at the end of module 6, there are exercises that you can do. Please do them, even if you might take a picture and WhatsApp them to me or so. I can give you idea and help. So you can practice it, and you can also practice the terminology. What what word do we use to take a break before the items? All the items on the agenda have been dealt with. Which one of these four is it? Co-opt, resume, convene, or adjourn? Someone has studied her things. Those grey lists, you must study them. And here you can use these exercises to practice them. Okay.